Welcome back to our summer devotion series as I read from the Book of Belonging, which is a book for all ages, not just for children. This week we are going to chapter 12, which is the story of the 5 fearless sisters. And what's really interesting is that we don't often hear this story. So if this is the first time you've heard that, wonderful. We'll take our stories from Numbers chapter 27 and chapter 36, and from Joshua chapter 17. During those wandering wilderness days, inside the vast desert encampment of the people God goes with, nestled among the tents of the Manasseh tribe and the tent of Zelophehad, there lived 5 fearless sisters: Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. Girls so smart and kind that they moved with courage wherever they went. After all, do you know that courage means to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart? Those girls knew who they were, and it made them brave. And whenever they started to forget and feel afraid or lost, all they had to do was repeat their names. Daughters of Zelophehad, family of Manasseh, camp of Israel, the people God goes with. They were snug and secure at the center of so much belonging. But one horrible day, Zelophehad died, and the sisters found themselves afraid and confused. The rules in those days said that only a male could keep his father's things, including his name, his tent, his animals, his money, and, most important, his place in the promised land where they were headed. So without a brother, the girls felt their layers of belonging start to slip away. Daughters of nobody, in the tent of no one. From the family of nobodies, the people God goes with? It just didn't add up. What will happen to us? Worried Tirzah. She was the youngest and was quite used to being taken care of. Will we have to leave our tent? Live with another family? Give up our special place in the promised land? Milcah and Hoglah were filled with questions too. They had often daydreamed together about the promised land, wondering what their new home would look like, what types of food they would grow, how tall the trees would be. This isn't right, said Noah. She was the boldest of the sisters and always filled with good ideas. She huddled her sisters up in a tight circle, and together they made a plan. The next morning they walked arm in arm to the tent of meeting, the place where the priests gathered and God met with Moses. The sisters had talked late into the night. They knew who they were. They were the daughters of Zelophehad, from the tribe of Manasseh and the people of Israel. But most of all, they knew that they were loved and valued by a God who invites us to wrestle. They knew that even without boys in their family, God was still with them. And when you know who you are and whose you are, you know how to ask for what is right, even when it is scary. Finally, it was their time to speak. Mahlah cleared her throat, took a deep breath, lifted up her chin, and explained what they had talked about all night, that their father had died but had no sons, that Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah loved God with their whole hearts and dreamed of their special place of belonging among the people of Israel, that they understood that the law said their inheritance was lost to them now. This is not right, said the 5 fearless sisters. They stood in front of Moses, Eleazar, and all the other important people with important jobs and said, "Give us our land. We belong just as much as any sons would. We know who we are. We know whose we are. And we know it is right for us to belong." The important people with important jobs looked at one another. Girls as important as boys? This is a new idea. Let's see what God has to say about that. So Moses went to meet with God, and what do you think God said? Of course. God said to Moses, "These 5 sisters are right. Give them their inheritance just as they asked. And while you're at it, write this down and make it the law. Daughters have as much right to land as sons." Moses came back with the news, and word spread from one tent to another. Mala, Noah, Hogla, Milcah, and Tirzah had done it. Those 5 fearless sisters believed who God said they were more than they believed anyone else. And they changed the future for many girls to come. That's the end of our story. I'll see you next week.